everyone, my name's Emily Knight and welcome back to my channel. Before I get into today's video, I just want to say thank you very much for 50 subscribers. That's really kind. I was floating around 47 today, and so I tweeted it out, and 3 people very kindly gave me a subscribe, and that's a very nice little milestone that I wanted to achieve at some point soon. So let's say 100 by the end of the year. But yeah, really thank you very much to all 50 of you for being here. I really appreciate it. Whatever content you're into, if you're here for the theatre stuff, if you're here for my comedic brilliance, I hope that you have fun here and you stay subscribed. So for today's video, I was thinking, I started uploading on this channel back in September, so it hasn't been very many months for you guys to get to know me, I guess. Now I know a lot of people subscribed, the majority of people subscribed know me at least of me, so a very small group of people will know me very well. Hi mum. But there are some people who subscribe to this channel that literally don't know me. I look at your name on my subscription and I'm like, I don't know you. I look it up and you're not even from this country, so there are some people that maybe don't really know much about me. So I thought today I would go very old school YouTube and do the get to know me tag. Now I found one that's updated for 2020, so it's a bit more of an updated version. I don't know what the old version is. I don't think people do tag videos anymore, but it's essentially just going to be some questions, and hopefully by the end of it you'll get to know me a bit better. So if you're here and you've not subscribed yet, watch this video, see if you can get on board with me and subscribe if you like me, once you've got to know me. So let's get to know me a little bit better. Question 1, where did you grow up? I grew up in the county of Lincolnshire. I grew up in a very tiny village. It's in the East Midlands. Cool. Second question is, where do you currently live? I live in Lincolnshire. I have actually moved. I lived for 3 years down south in Chichester while I was training. For 2019-2020, for like nearly a year, we lived in Derby, and then we've recently moved back to Lincolnshire, but we're living in Lincoln, the city of Lincoln. Number 3, who is your first best friend? I'm gonna say that's who was your first best friend. You don't need to correct the grammar, Emily. So I would say my first best friend was my sister, because she's only 2 years older than me, and so I guess when you're 0 years old and 2 years old, you're pretty good friends, especially both being girls, and she still is my best friend. But if you're not allowed to pick a family member, then my first best friend was Sarah. Hi if you're watching. We met when we were around 2. We both went to preschool together, we then went to primary school together, and then we stayed friends throughout secondary school, and we're still friends now. Isn't that lovely? That's 21 years, nearly? Probably about 20 years we've been friends. Ew, that makes me sound so old, I hate that. Question 4 is, how tall are you? I'm 5'8.5". I'm quite tall. I do also tend to wear heels quite a lot, like boots. So I think everyone just thinks I'm probably like 6 foot. But yeah, the last time I was measured, I'm sure I was 5'8.5". According to my Spotlight, I'm 5'8", because 1, couldn't have half an inch, but 2, I don't want my face suggests being more cast as a 16-year-old than a 30-year-old, and I'd probably prefer everyone to think that I was shorter than taller. Number 5 is dogs or cats. This is a ridiculous question. I just like all animals. So I grew up with both. We had a cat when I was growing up for like 18 years. They had him like before me, and so I always had a cat growing up. But equally, mid-primary school, we got a dog, and I loved her very much. And then since she's passed, we've had another dog. My parents have still got a dog. So I'm used to both. I very much love both. I think a lot of people would describe me as a crazy cat lady, but I also really love dogs and just going for a walk to see the dogs. And I just like all animals. If you know me, you know that I like animals. So yeah, some people are cat people and some people are dog people, but some people are both, and that's okay. Team dog and cat. Number 6 is funniest moment throughout high school. This is really hard, but also like stories are never really that funny if you weren't there. So I'm like trying to think, what's the funniest moment in high school? I feel like things that happened that were hilarious at the time and we cried about are not probably that funny anymore, but I do remember my friend once falling off a radiator, which as I'm saying it doesn't sound funny. At the time it was the funniest thing that ever happened. I guess people like falling off things or falling over is always funny. But yeah, whatever the story is won't sound funny if you weren't there, so that's fine. Number 7 is, what year were you born? I was born in 1997. 90s baby. Number 8 is, are you in / have you gone to college? I think this is American, so college in America is like uni. So I did sixth form, which is when people go to college in the UK. I did sixth form, that was attached to my secondary school, and then I went to university, the University of Chichester Conservatoire, for 3 years. Number 9, what is your favourite drink? If that means alcoholic beverage, then probably gin. I'll drink quite a lot of things, but big fan of the gin. If it means just any old drink, at the moment I just drink squash, which is kind of boring. I'm a big fan of cranberry juice, I used to drink that all the time. I'm not really allowed things like Coke and lemonade and stuff that's got like a lot of caffeine in, so I guess like if I was going to treat myself, I'd treat myself to a Coke Zero. And if it's a hot drink, hot chocolate please. Number 10, what is your spirit animal and why? Now, I think the most adorable things in the world are quokkas. If you don't know what that is, have a Google. I'll put a picture, kind. They're really cute, they just really smile a lot and are really happy, and I feel like one side of my personality is definitely like quokka vibes, but I'm not always like that. I'm quite, you know, gloomy and dark and things too, so I guess, I don't know, I feel like I've always vibed with sloths. They move so slowly and they're just so like, and they're a bit creepy. I don't know, that's me, isn't it? But yeah, I don't know, if anyone knows me, well, let me know in the comments what you think my spirit animal is. I've always vibed with cats actually. I feel like I am a bit of a cat. Yeah, probably, that's really boring than compared to like a quokka. Cat / quokka. I don't know. If anyone knows what an Oodie is, I'm sure most of you do, you can get a quokka one of them. I don't really like the design, but I just thought that was cool. Number 11, you're wearing perfume. What scent is it? I often have the Next perfumes. Is that weird? I really like the one, I think it's called Cashmere. I just generally don't, I'm not a big fan of things like floral scents. I'm more into like, I guess musky, but like tobacco-y smells. Not like, I don't want to smell of cigarettes, but like those kind of more smoky vibes is what I like. But yeah, often I'll be wearing a Next perfume, specifically the Cashmere one. But in general, I just like to smell nice. Number 12, tea or coffee. I've already explained I'm not really allowed caffeine, but I don't like coffee at all. That's just nasty. I think anyone that likes that's just pretending. I do like tea, only in the recent years have I enjoyed the taste of tea. Obviously I normally have decaf tea if I'm gonna have one, but I'm just not a big hot drink person. Like occasionally I feel like a hot chocolate, I look like one, or you know, I'll have a cup of tea, but I'm not like one of those people that needs one in the morning and multiple throughout the day and stuff. I just don't really need to be that warm. Number 13, what are your life goals? Well, this is a bit depressing in a pandemic because obviously no one can really achieve their goals right now. You've got to set goals, I guess. I would really like to be one day on the West End. I guess, you know, even if I just stand on a West End stage, then I've achieved that. But I would actually like to, you know, perform on it. I don't know really if that's achievable. I hope it is. And I am only 23, and also my professional career so far has pretty much taken entirely place in a pandemic, so we'll see. But yeah, I'd really like, I don't really care to be on Broadway, I just like to be on the West End. Life goals, I think in general, not career wise, but in general I just like to be happy and healthy. I want to live in a mansion. I have a problem with like looking up Lincolnshire mansions, and some of them are like only $1 million. But yeah, one day I'd like to be rich. I know that doesn't buy you happiness, but I just think I'd be a lot happier if my wardrobe size reflected how many clothes I intend on having. Number 14, what sports do you play or have you played? Anyone watching this that knows me knows that I'm not very sporty. I rarely joined in with PE at school, so any sports that I did do in that, I guess I played. I didn't play though, did I? On sports day I was always reserved for basketball. So the closest to a sport I've ever been is obviously I dance. That's like part of my job as a musical theatre performer. So I guess dancing and swimming. I was a pretty good swimmer. Always have a desire to go swimming. Would love to get back into swimming. Maybe I'll be a swimmer. Which obviously swimming is a sport, like the Olympics you have swimming, but yeah, I'm not very like your team sports, your contact sports, your like sports. No, never. I never will. Number 15, have any books you read changed your life? I don't know that anything changed my life, which is sad. I don't think I've read enough books. I've got very bad with reading over the last 8 years. But yeah, I would like to get back into reading, to read a book that does change my life. I think there are many. I really want to read Out of Love by Hazel Hayes. I do feel like that's going to change my life. But yeah, other books I've read, like I've enjoyed, I've been like, wow, what a lovely book. But I don't know that any changed my life. So yeah, that's a really boring answer from me. No, but if you've read a book that changed your life, let me know in the comments, because I'll maybe read it. November 2019, I went to see Julie Andrews in, like she was talking and being interviewed by Alex Jennings, and it was to promote her next book, and so I got that book, and I read actually quite a lot of it, like on the way home and a little bit afterwards, and then again I stopped, which is probably the last time I read. How embarrassing. So what I read from that I really was inspired by, and I think if I finish that book it might change my life in terms of like getting me inspired. Number 16, what is your favourite movie? I think my favourite film is 10 Things I Hate About You. It is based on Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew. It's just great in every way. One, it's a 90s movie. Two, the female character is just like a feminist, don't need no man, but will have one when she wants one, kick-ass woman. It's funny, it's got Heath Ledger in, like, win. And his big gesture, shall I say, without spoiling it, is just one of the most lovely moments ever in film, isn't it? I just love 10 Things I Hate About You. I love the monologue she does. I just think it's great. Close seconds would be things like Hot Fuzz, The Blues Brothers, things like that, iconic. But yeah, generally I just like things that are funny or nice, like 10 Things I Hate About You. Although I am going to add to that list, in the last week, Luke and I have watched the trilogy of the Planet of the Apes films. I have never had an interest in watching these films, but like, let me tell you, I'll put a picture of how upset I have been after some of these, but I just really cared about some of these apes and would have died for them even though they're not real, and those films are like weirdly creeping up to some of my favourite films. They just really affected me, and I just really like them. They're not going to beat 10 Things I Hate About You because it's a bit more of a heavy watch than just like just going to pop on 10 Things I Hate About You versus like for 6 hours. But really recommend them if you've never seen them. I'm sure everyone's seen them, just I don't watch films, but really liked that. Number 17, who are your favourite YouTubers? Now, I'll be honest, obviously I was young when YouTube kind of like blew up rather, so I was watching your Charlie Is So Cool Likes and your Fred Figglehorns, and then obviously as people like Zoella and that whole British group kind of blew up, and I obviously watched them as a teen. Since then obviously I've stopped watching a lot of those people, some of them though I still watch. So the people I watch a lot are Lucas Cruikshank, aka Fred, like I still watch him but just as a real person. I watch, in terms of like theatre vlogs, I do really like watching Carrie Hope Fletcher a lot of the time still. I don't know if that's picking up on camera, but my neighbours are... We're never sure if she's crying or laughing. I think it's fine. I quite enjoy Louise Pentland, even though I'm nowhere near motherhood. I quite enjoy her videos just as a comforting thing. I really enjoy Grace Helbig and Mamrie Hart, and I really like their podcast as well that they do together. I don't watch much YouTube anymore. Like I'll watch if one of these people uploads and I feel like it, but a lot of the things I just use YouTube for is to watch a podcast to go to sleep. So I also watch the Try Guys quite a lot, and also the Tripod, so their podcast, their wives or partners podcast, and they also have a baby podcast that sometimes I listen to fall asleep. Oh, and Lucas Cruikshank has a podcast as well that sometimes I fall asleep to. Who else do I watch? That's already quite a list for someone that said they don't watch people. Oh, Anthony Padilla, I watch his stuff a lot. I think he's doing some really cool stuff on the internet. I would have said Jenna Marbles at one point, but obviously she's not really uploading anymore, but I still watch her boyfriend Julian's stuff when he puts stuff up. As a singing teacher, my YouTube history is just the songs that my students are doing, so I have to scroll past all of that to find that. Helen Anderson, that's someone else that I've watched for many years, and sometimes I take a break for a bit and come back, but she's great, isn't she? And there's other people that I watch a bit, but not like religiously every video, if that makes sense. So if I've not mentioned someone, it's not that I don't watch them at all. It's just that they are people that I will watch like most of what they do. The final one, however, is Amazing Phil. Obviously Dan as well, but he doesn't really upload. But yeah, we'll never miss an Amazing Phil video. Love them. Call me the biggest fan ever. They're some of my favourite people to watch that I kind of frequently go to. Where's the list? I forgot, I've lost. Oh, here. 18, do you speak any languages and how well? No, I speak English, hopefully fairly well. I did French for quite a lot of my life. I can't remember actually what age I started, but pretty young actually. Sometime in primary school, maybe in like class 2, so when I was like 6 or 7 I want to say I started French, because I know by year 3 we started doing it in school and I was like, I already know this. So yeah, then I did it externally, then I did it in primary school, then I did it at secondary school, and I took it for GCSE and got an A. So I think in France I could get by. I also did German for a few years in secondary school. I couldn't get by on that. Like, I know some words, but I couldn't like have a conversation with someone in German at all. So no, I'm not very good at languages. I'm too scared to do Duolingo because that owl sounds terrifying. Number 19, are you single or taken? I've never really had a problem with the word taken, but reading it then really grossed me out. I am in a relationship with a boy who is called Luke. A man. Yes, I am taken. I am off the market. What a gross word. Number 20, what is your idea of a dream date? Before lockdown times, I would have said just at home with a takeaway, having a nice time. Whereas now, I'm just like itching to go and do something. I know people say that going to see a film is like a really bad date, but just before lockdown, Luke and I used to do that a lot, and I just really liked it. Just going to see a film, having a cry together, and then going out for food I'd really like. But literally anything at this point, because we're so stuck inside. I think even stuff that I don't like to do, I'd probably go and do. Also things like going to like an amusement park, like going to Alton Towers, because there's so much time where you just sat or stood waiting that you kind of just get to chat and have a nice time, don't you? But I think the ultimate date would be dinner on a show. How cringy. But I'd like to go for like pre-show meal, probably Italian, then go and see a musical, which Luke now does sometimes, and afterwards we'll go and get ice cream, specifically from Delicious, the ice cream bar in London. 21, how long was your longest relationship? Oh god, these are very involved questions. Probably my current one. Luke and I first met in 2017, so there you go. Number 22, how would you describe your fashion sense? You tell me. Today I'm dressed as a big toddler. I've always taken inspiration from whatever I want. I sometimes dress like all in black and I'm very like goth, I guess. Sometimes I dress very like bright and colourful. So I take inspiration from however I'm feeling. Sometimes I go with what's cool and in, and sometimes I really don't, and that's okay. But yeah, I just dress how I want to. I see things that I like and I put them on, and it's different depending on my mood. And more recent years I've tried to be more normal. I've tried to wear jeans and a plain white top and be like, ooh, aren't I groovy? But I think me is just a little bit out there. I try and tone it down. At the moment my fashion sense is just comfortable. The other day for rehearsal I wore a dress and I was like, whoa. But I'm a big fan more of like dresses. There was a time that I would always dress up. You would never find me in like joggers. I just didn't own any. I didn't own any jeans, whereas now I do own a bit more like trousers. But yeah, big fan of like dresses and being pretty. Sometimes I'm a big fan of, you know, comfortable clothes. Turtlenecks normally come into it. I just do what I want and it changes. And it changes when I'm being a singing teacher. It changes when I'm being an acting teacher. It changes when I'm being a performer. Like, it just changes all the time. Number 23, what is your go-to hairstyle? Wow, I just wear my hair down a lot of the time. Sometimes I wear it in the middle, sometimes I wear it on the side. Sometimes I put a hairband in it because it looks flat. I guess if it's a hairstyle, my go-to is to have a top knot. Because again, toddler. But I'm not, oh, now I've done that, my hair looks weird. But I'm not that like creative with my hair. I don't do anything particularly interesting. Sometimes when I was training, I'd often have it in a plait for ease of dance, but also because I put it in a plat to sleep in because it was wet. How many siblings do you have? One. I have one older sister. Hi, if you're watching, I love her. 25, what is your go-to fast food order? Most of the time I'll probably be going to Mackey's, in which case I have whatever the cheese is, so mozzarella sticks, cheese bites, nacho, whatever. So I'll have 2 bags because somehow that always seems to be cheaper than having a share box. Conspiracy. A large fries and a large chocolate milkshake. That's me. Obviously if it's not a Mackey's my order would be different, but that tends to be the go-to fast food place. Number 26, do you use a PC or a Mac? I have a MacBook here. But I also am quite happy on PC. I have a PC laptop, a normal laptop as well. I'm quite happy on a computer. I then have to work out which one I'm using, but yeah, I guess I have a MacBook, so that's what I do my work on a lot of the time. Number 27, your most memorable childhood memory. I guess for me, a lot of the time when I was growing up, my favourite part of the year was when I was doing a show. So like a random weekend in April or whatever, we'd obviously go to the theatre and put on the show, and I just love it. I feel very at home in a theatre. I love it so much, and yeah, I just miss performing. And so yeah, I guess a lot of the time my childhood, the main things I remember is doing shows, which obviously I was very happy doing. 28, what are your morning, evening routines? God, on what day? On what, and during a pandemic, during the first lockdown, during the third lockdown, it changes every time. I guess at the moment I get up. At the moment it's like I wake up, I check my phone, I go for a wee, I get dressed, I do put my contacts in, I moisturise and face roll. That's the thing I do. I put on my makeup, I have my breakfast, I go to work, whichever work that is. Sometimes depending on if it's a day I start a little later, I'll get up and do yoga first at the moment. That's cool. I don't know how long that's gonna go on for, but I'm trying to do a bit of exercise every day. So I'll do yoga then, or I'll do it at night if I didn't have time. So yeah, evening routine, I guess some yoga. I'm more of a like evening bath person. Like if I'm washing my hair, I'll do that at night. If I'm not washing my hair, then I'll probably shower in the morning to get going. Yeah, this is a really hard question. I think I'll probably do a morning routine and evening routine video, like when I'm actually living a more normal life, I guess. Being in lockdown is just not having a great effect on me remembering to do things. 29, do you have any bad habits? I don't know if I have any like as a personality thing, but in terms of like physical bad habits, I bite my nails a lot. They are all broken, and I also rip out my eyebrows when I'm stressed, which means I then have bald spots. And I think this is the last question. Number 30, tell us one thing about you that we wouldn't know. So what I tend to tell people, you know when you like go to a group of new people, either you're starting like school, sixth form, like uni or whatever, and they say like or a meeting, and they say let's go around the room and tell us one thing about, like one fun fact, and everyone goes But my fun fact that I always say is that I can lick my elbow. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope that you found something new and cool and interesting about me that you didn't know. Even if you know me personally, you're literally like my sibling. Maybe you learned something you didn't know, maybe. So I'd also like to get to know you guys. So if you have a cool answer to any of those questions, you can do multiple or you can do 0, then let me know in the comments. I'd like to know. I reply to all my comments. Like this video if you enjoyed learning a little bit about me. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you are like, she's not cool, but you know what I mean. I'd like to see more of that. Oh god. And I will see you in next week's video. Once again, thanks so much for 50 subscribers. See you next time. Bye.